Debbie Marcoux is licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS ID 237926. Also licensed in Arizona 0941504, Florida L076508, Georgia 69178, Idaho MLO 208023796, Illinois 031.0058339, Missouri, North Carolina I210940, Nevada 57237, Oregon, Tennessee 184373, Texas, Washington MLO 237926.
She's the mortgage mom. She can get things done when you're in need and don't know where to go. Pick up the phone and call mom.
All right, so welcome to Mortgage Mom Radio. I am Debbie Marcoux. I am the Mortgage Mom, and it is Wednesday, and it is 1 p.m., and we are live right here on YouTube and Facebook. So if you do prefer the Facebook platform, no problem whatsoever. But really, the main platform is YouTube, and that's where we get the majority of our people watching and asking questions. Now, I can see your questions from both platforms. So if you put your question into the feed, you may not see a question that I'm reading out loud, but that could be because they're on a different platform and joining the show. So I do want to let everybody know that I had made the announcement a couple weeks back that I was going to be stopping the text messages to let you know when I've gone live. And instead I decided to just retire the text message word mom and to change that to live. So let me kind of explain a little bit how the industry goes. You're excited, you want to buy a house, you want to refinance, you've got that aspiration of some sort to do some financing. You get very involved and you want to be able to watch and follow along and join the show every week. And you text the word mom to my phone number and you get yourself opted in. Well, you eventually get that home purchased or you eventually get that refinance done, and then you no longer really have interest for this subject or, for a good period of time until you're ready to do it again. So we have a lot of people that were starting to either reply back and, say something that wasn't so nice or we're opting out. And so I just kind of thought it would be nice to start that list fresh so that we have a fresh list of people who are listening now. We're not sending out 4,000 text messages to 3,800 people that have no intention to join. So the new word now that you're going to text, if you want to make sure that you get that notification, is live, L-I-V-E. So Mortgage Mom Radio is live. Think of it that way. So if you want to make sure that you are on that list, that you are getting that text message, that you know when I go live, we want you to join. We want you to be part of the show. We want you to get interactive with us. Today's going to be a very interactive show because I want to get your opinions. The people that are listening to the show and watching, I want to get your opinions on what you what you think about today's subject, which is, should you buy now, refi now, or should you be waiting for interest rates to come down? And there's a lot of good reason for both, but that is what our show is going to be about today. And so I want you guys to put things into the feed. I want you to give me your opinions, questions, comments, remarks. I want you guys to do that, and we're going to talk about it today. And then where do I stand? What do I think that you should be considering? And, whether or not you should be waiting or you should be trying to pull the trigger sooner. So that is what today's show is all about. Should you be buying now, refinancing now, or should you be waiting for interest rates to come down? So if you want to make sure you're interactive with us every single week and you want that text message, text the word live, L-I-V-E, to 844-935-3634. That's 844 We Lend for You. WELEND and the number 4. Now that is also the same phone number to call my office, to talk to me, talk to one of the girls, get your appointment started. So remember that phone number, very, very easy. It's 844-935-3634. That's 844 We Lend for You. WELEND and the number 4. So I can see that my dad did jump on and says hi. So thanks so much for joining, Dad. And Heidi did jump in and says hello all. And again, if you're here, you are watching the show and you are with us, please, say hi, put something in the feed. Love to know that you're here, you're watching, and you're part of the show. We are going to take a super fast commercial break. And when we get back, we're going to jump into the topic. Should you be purchasing now? Should you be refinancing now, or should you wait for those interest rates to come down further? So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Debbie Marcoux, the Mortgage Mom. Well, Wednesday, March the 6th at 5 p.m. Pacific time, I'll be holding a free homebuyer workshop. Have you thought about buying a home in 24 or 25? Well, it is never too early to get started. You actually need at least a minimum of 3 months that you need to be pre-approved prior to the date that you'd like to close. Giving yourself some breathing room, you should really be pre-approved about 5 to 6 months before that date that you want to be moving in to your new home. So it's never too early to get started. We're going to take you from start to finish through the process, from all of the important words and jargon that's used to once you've closed. How do you pick a real estate agent and everything in between? So join us. We're doing it Wednesday, March the 5th at 6 p.m. on YouTube. How do you RSVP? Because we want you there. We want you to get the link to join, be live, interactive with me, ask your questions. We're going to do it right there on YouTube. So how do you RSVP? You're going to text RSVP to 844-935-3634. That's 844. We lend for you. WELEND and the number 4. Again, text RSVP to 844-935-3634. All right, so welcome back to Mortgage Mom Radio. We're going to jump right into our topic today, that is, should you buy now or should you wait for rates to fall? And the same goes for a refinance. Obviously, different transactions, but what do we think? What are those opinions? I can see that Nikki jumped on, and for all of you guys that are listening to me, if you are thinking about buying a home in Lake Havasu, Nikki Goudreau is the bomb. She is literally the best real estate agent out there. So if you need her phone number, because many of you are looking to relocate, retire to Lake Havasu, you want that second home for those summers with the boating and those winters with the off-roading, whatever your reason is for Lake Havasu, which there are a million reasons for Lake Havasu, Nikki is your girl. So definitely reach out to me. I'd be happy to give you guys her phone number. She really is fabulous. So Armando jumps on too and says, hi, Debbie. So Armando, thanks so much for joining. Love to see you here. And again, I want you guys to give me your opinions. I want you to put it into the chat right now. I want to know what you think, because this is interactive, and I want to know, do you feel like you should be waiting to do a transaction right now? Or do you think that you should be moving forward while interest rates are still at a higher number? Heather jumped on also and says, hi, everybody. So we've got lots of people that are starting to join, and we are going to get into this topic. So let me start with purchasing a home in today's mortgage rate, right? Interest rates are definitely higher than they have been for many, many years. So where are interest rates right now? What is an average interest rate that you're going to see in today's world? So if you are looking at a government loan, so an FHA or a VA loan, you are looking at interest rates that are going to be in the high sixes. They're going to be somewhere between 6.5% and 7%, depending on if you decide to pay points or if you get the seller to give you some sort of credits, maybe to buy that interest rate down a bit. I'm seeing on average about 6 3/4. Now, an interest rate for a conventional loan, so a Fannie Mae or a Freddie Mac, those interest rates right now are right in the ballpark of about 7.5. So again, that could be a little bit lower, that could be a little bit higher, depending on your credit score and the type of property and how much money that you're putting down and all of that good stuff. But that's going to give you a good place to begin this conversation with. So Heather did jump in and she says, don't wait, buy now and refinance later. Armando says, my opinion is I would buy now, refinance later. And Janice jumps in and says, well, I believe that depends if the house is your forever home because refinancing is expensive. So I love all of these comments. And we're going to start with the first two, which is Heather and Armando, who say, my opinion is I would buy now, refinance later. So it really does depend. And we're going to kind of join that in with Janice's thought process as well as this your forever home. So let's talk about purchasing a home. Think about this, and I want you guys to take yourself back, especially if you are somebody who's been thinking about buying, whether you own a home and you're, kind of put those goals on hold and said, I don't want to sell right now. It's cheaper for me to stay where I am. My interest rate is much lower. My payment is much lower. If I move and I go and I buy something else at the higher interest rates, I'm going to have a higher mortgage payment. So I don't really want to buy right now. I'm just going to wait and I'm going to hold, right? So let's start with that person. You have to look at when you started thinking about doing that. So if that was your thought process when interest rates first started to climb in 2021, think about what your home was worth in 2021 and what your home is worth today. For you, somebody that owns a home and would be selling that home and going and buying another home, you're kind of washed, right? Not only has your home gone up in value, but what you could have purchased that home that you'd really like to get into for has also gone up in value. So you're kind of a wash. There's really no rush or hurry for you to sell or to make any movements. And this is why our inventory is as low as it is. There is absolutely no reason for somebody to sell right at this moment unless there is a particular need. They're getting relocated. They have a baby on the way and they've just absolutely outgrown the place that they're in. There is something that comes along. They're inheriting their parents that they need to take care of, and their place is just not going to work. There are things that do come up. Divorce, right? Things that come up that can't be stopped no matter where the market is at. And those are the people that are selling. But if there's absolutely no rush, no intention or worry or need to sell right now, you're staying tight because you don't care if the next house that you buy has gone up in value because your home has gone up in value as well. So keep in the back of your head, this is why our inventory is low. With our inventory low, even with interest rates that are high, we're still seeing appreciation. We're still seeing home values go up. So you're not reaping the rewards of waiting because of high interest rates for values or home values to come down. That is happening in certain parts of the country. There's different pockets that they have seen some depreciation, but for the majority of the United States, we are still seeing appreciation year over year and month over month. So you, seller, thinking about selling and then buying, it doesn't matter. You can do it today, you can do it later. You do it today, yes, you're going to buy the home at a higher interest rate, but what the home is going to be worth later is going to be more than what it would be if you bought today, so you get a little bit better deal, but you're going to sell your home at a little bit lower today than what you'd sell it for later. So you're an absolute wash, right? So now think about the person that is maybe a younger person and they are in a condo and they did just get married, or they do have a baby on the way, or they are inheriting their parents and they need to get into something bigger. But they don't want to sell that condo, or they don't want to sell that small home that they started with. They really want to hold that, and they want that to become a rental property, and they want to go buy something else. That person, if they were starting to think about that process in 21 and put their plans on hold, I tell you, I urge you, go back and think about what could you have bought that property for 2 or 3 years ago. That's very, very important because what you could buy it for today is a lot higher. And where you're going to buy it at once interest rates do come down and the market does take off and go crazy is going to be even higher because you have all these people that have been sitting and have been waiting on hold. So, do I think that you should be waiting to purchase if you are a homeowner and you are going to sell and then go buy? I think it doesn't really matter. You do it when the time is right. I think that if you are somebody who has never bought a home, so you're a first-time buyer, or your plan is to hold on and to keep the home that you have and go buy another. So you're going to start to build your, your real estate portfolio. Then I personally believe that do it now. And then, like Heather and Armando said, refinance it when interest rates come down, lower the monthly payment even further, make it even more affordable. That property that you're going to rent out, you're going to get some really great rents right now. Rents are very, very high, much higher than they used to be. So that would be my opinion in those scenarios. But we are going to keep talking scenarios. I'm going to take a super quick break, and then we'll be right back. This is Debbie Marcoux, the Mortgage Mom. Do you have goals to purchase a home in 2024? Well, guess what? Interest rates are coming down. They got better in December, and they're on their way down again, even further. So what does that do? Well, that makes home prices more affordable. It makes your purchase price more affordable, your monthly payment more affordable. So what do? Well, you need to get pre-approved. So give us a call. It's 844-935-3634. That's 844. We lend for you. WELEND and the number 4. Or head on over to our website at mortgagemomradio.com. All right, so welcome back to Mortgage Mom Radio. I'm Debbie Marcoux. I am the Mortgage Mom, and we're talking should you buy now and should you wait, or should you wait based on interest rates, right? So Michael did jump in during my last rant, and he did say, hello, everyone. So I did want to say hi to Michael. And again, I would love for you guys to put your comments in the feed. If you don't agree with me, I want to hear why. And I think that it's great. I love that this is interactive. And like I said, there's very many opinions out there of what you should or could or what would be the best option to move forward. So please don't hesitate to do so. So before the break, we did talk about whether or not you should be buying right now, even though interest rates are high, or whether you should be waiting and then buying once interest rates come down. So we did give I gave the scenario of if you're going to sell your current home and then you are going to buy another with the proceeds from that current home. I gave the idea of you own a home today or you don't own a home at all and you are looking to buy your next property without selling. And so my opinion on that is interest rate or property values are going to be worth much, much more in the future. So buying today at today's prices is far better with a refinance down the road than to be waiting for interest rates to come down. So I do want to talk a little bit about that. And then we are going to jump into the idea of refinancing. But again, if you have any questions, you want to put something in there, you want to disagree with me, I would love to hear from you. And I want you guys to do that. I am very open and I love to see opinions and we can absolutely have a conversation about it. Now, I do want to remind everybody who is listening to me by radio that if you want to get interactive with us, you want to see me do the show live, you need to get the notifications from me. And how do you do that? Well, we retired the word mom. So if you're on the old mom word that you had opted yourself in, then you need to text again to opt into the new word. So we want to make sure that we're only hitting those people that are truly interested in joining us during the show. So text the word live, LIVE, to 844-935-3634. That's 844. We lend for you. WELEND and the number 4. So text the word live, LIVE, and that will get you opted in to get my link once a week to join us and get interactive with me. So I can see that we have a comment from John's channel, and it says, I want to buy a home, but I think I'll just wait next year. It's not easy, and rates and prices. So that is what a lot of people believe, John, and it comes across as John's channel, but I'm going to call you John. So that is actually what a lot of people believe, and that is what the majority of new, fresh first-time home buyers are doing. They feel that prices are high, interest rates are high, and so the best thing that they can do is to just wait until next year. Wait until 2025 when interest rates have come down. Then it's going to be a little bit more affordable and it's going to be a little bit easier to buy. But I give you this. So think about this right now. There are many, many people just like you. The majority are just like you. They all have their plans on hold. They don't want to buy right now because prices are high and interest rates are high. The majority of financial analysts and the people that are reading the market and talking to us about what they believe is going to happen moving forward, I have not read one yet that has any kind of backing that I would say is reputable, who believes that we're going to see home values plummet or that we're going to see home values drop. So I would say that most of them believe that home values are going to actually continue to rise. So think about this. Everybody who has been on hold and waiting, interest rates have come down. It's 2025, and now everybody's got that same goal. I don't know if you had the goal to purchase a home back in 2020 and 2021 when there wasn't enough inventory, which is what we're fighting right now, and there were more home buyers than there were sellers, and it was practically impossible to get an offer accepted unless you had a big down payment, you were paying all cash, you removed your contingencies. So you said, I'm going to buy that house even if it doesn't appraise. I'm going to bring in the difference in cash between what the bank appraises it for and what I agreed to pay. I am not going to do a physical inspection on the home. There were so many really crazy things that were happening just to be able to get your offer accepted and to move forward with a transaction. And that is what the foreseen future is. That is what the majority of analysts are saying that we are going to see when we see interest rates come down, because there have been so many people that have been on hold, and there are going to be just that many more people that are going to flood the market that want to purchase. Well, when that situation happens and we've got multiple offers per property and we've got overbidding per property, we see crazy appreciation take place. We see home values go up very, very quickly, like they did in 2020 and 2021. So I would disagree with you, and I would say, yes, home prices are high right now. Interest rates are high right now, but we need to figure out, can you buy right now? Do you have the means to buy? Do you have the credit? Can we get you into some sort of down payment assistance if you don't have the down payment available? What can you afford at today's interest rates and today's prices? Maybe you can't get that 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, single-family home, but can we get you into property? Because any property, even a condo, is going to go up in value, and you're going to have equity in a property that you could either sell later, take the equity and go buy that 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, single family, or rent it out and then go get yourself that single family home down the road. So I'm going to disagree with you, but I do understand what you're saying. And that is the thought process of a lot of people. So you're not necessarily wrong, but I'm trying to give you a different perspective on the other side of the coin. So thank you so much for joining in on that. I do appreciate it. Heidi did say, I couldn't agree more about the buy now and refinance later. So again, Heidi does work with me and my team. So this is us being in the industry, and this is what we're foreseeing, and this is what we're reading, and what our understanding is as we are deep dive in depth with the market on a day-to-day basis. And we are obviously have our ear very close to, the news and what is happening, because we are involved in it. This is our industry. So we do truly believe that we are going to see some massive craziness happen once they do finally start to bring those property or those interest rates down. We do think property values are going to go up pretty significantly once that happens. And so if you can afford to get into something today and buying at today's prices and then refinance them when interest rates come down, take advantage, lower that monthly payment, get that payment down low enough you could throw a renter in there and then go buy yourself something else and start a real estate portfolio, even better. So John did jump in again and says, it makes it hard on the payment with your wages staying stagnant. Thank you for your input. And do you help people in Washington state? So I love that. Yes, we do. And that is a great question. So I am licensed in 11 different states. I am mostly West Coast and then a couple of the Midwest and East Coast. So we do have Tennessee, North Carolina, Texas, Illinois. We are in Washington, Nevada, Arizona, California. So we are in quite a few states. And yes, John, we can absolutely help you in Washington. And it doesn't ever hurt to try to call us, talk about what could you buy, what would payments look like, how much money would you need, are you in a position that you could buy something today? That is what a consultation is all about. It's not necessarily a loan application. It doesn't mean that I'm pulling your credit just to have a conversation. We love to have phone consultations. We want you to reach out to us and talk to us so that we can help you to determine if right now would be a good time, because I do truly believe that those who are ready, willing, and able to do it now in 2024, and actually before these summer months hit, I think are going to be sitting in a very, very good position come 2025. So with that, we are going to take a super fast commercial break because I want to remind everybody about my workshop next Wednesday, and then we'll come back and we'll keep going. I can see Heather's commented and John's got another question. And so we're going to keep going, and I want you guys to keep going. I want you to put your questions into the feed, and we're going to get all of those answered and get opinions going. And we haven't even hit whether or not you should be refinancing in today's rate environment. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Debbie Marcoux, the Mortgage Mom. Well, Wednesday, March the 6th at 5 p.m. Pacific time, I'll be holding a free homebuyer workshop. Have you thought about buying a home in 24 or 25? Well, it is never too early to get started. You actually need at least a minimum of 3 months that you need to be pre-approved prior to the date that you'd like to close. Giving yourself some breathing room, you should really be pre-approved about 5 to 6 months before that date that you want to be moving in to your new home. So it's never too early to get started. We're going to take you from start to finish through the process, from all of the important words and jargon that's used to once you've closed. How do you pick a real estate agent and everything in between? So join us. We're doing it Wednesday, March the 5th at 6 p.m. on YouTube. How do you RSVP? Because we want you there. We want you to get the link to join, be live, interactive with me, ask your questions. We're going to do it right there on YouTube. So how do you RSVP? You're going to text RSVP to 844-935-3634. That's 844 We Lend for You. WELEND and the number 4. Again, text RSVP to 844-935-3634. Okay, so welcome back to Mortgage Mom Radio. Today we're talking about whether you should purchase or refinance in today's rate environment, or whether you should wait for interest rates to come down. I did not answer the question that Janice gave, so I did want to get back to that really quick, Janice, because if you ask it, I want to address it. So she says, let me get back. Well, I believe that depends if the house is your forever home, because refinancing is expensive. So I do want to bring up the refinancing, and it reminded me of that as I saw our most recent comments. So Heather did jump in and said, let's see. Heather says, I think personally when rates drop, houses will start to go up. So that was her comment. If you can find something now you like and are happy with, I highly recommend buying now and refinance later. Refinancing doesn't cost much, and you can include the refinance cost into the loan so you don't come out of pocket with any money. John's channel says, what are the homeowners assistance programs? So we'll talk about that in a minute. And Michael says, yes, I did my refi without any money out of pocket. So let's talk about refinance, because I think that seems like a very hot topic, and especially because Janice brought it up. So I think this is fabulous, and I love it when you guys get interactive, because I'm giving you the content that you need. So thank you so much. So refinancing, let's talk about the cost of refinancing. A refinance costs, it depends on where you live, the state that you are in, and what the average costs are for title. If you're an escrow state, if you're an attorney state, It depends on the appraisals. So appraisers charge different per area in different places. So it does depend on the state that you are in, what your costs will be. But on average, the hard costs, the one-time fees that you pay to do a refinance are going to be between $3,500 and $5,000, depending on your state and your area and the size of your loan and the cost of your home. So the value of your home. So if you've got this big, ginormous mansion, it's of course going to cost a lot more money to get that appraisal done than if you're in, an average 2,000 square foot single family home or a condo or a townhome. If we are doing a refinance on an investment property, that appraisal is going to be a little bit more expensive. If it's units, a 3 or 4 unit, and there's rental income, that's going to be a little bit more. So we're going to say that the costs are going to be between $3,500 and $5,000 to do a refinance. So Janice is right in that it's not super cheap, but Heather is also correct in that it's not super expensive. The cost absolutely is outweighed by the lowering of the interest rate and the savings that you'll have on a monthly basis and over the term of the loan by doing the refinance. Now, with that, I do want to say goodbye to my Saturday Go Country listeners. You guys got to get interactive with me on YouTube, so make sure you text live to 844-935-3634 because we'd love to see you there every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Okay, so let's keep going. So refinance, we do want to make sure that when we do a refinance that the savings monthly are going to outweigh the actual cost of the refinance. Michael is correct in that with a refinance, you can put all of those fees into the loan. So you do not have to pay them cash out of pocket. They can be financed, allowing it an easier transaction to do a refinance. So you're not necessarily, if you don't have the cash in the bank, not able to get that refinance done to take advantage of that lower interest rate. You can finance those fees. That is absolutely possible. Now, if the refinance is going to be very expensive, then that is something that you just don't do. So we do want to make sure that the refinance is affordable and that it makes sense. And whether or not it is your forever home or it's going to be your rental property or you plan to sell it in 3 or 4 years, we want to make sure that the refinance makes sense. So if it costs you $5,000 and your savings per month is going to be $250 a month on your monthly payment, and it's going to take you 3 years to make up the cost, right? That's where you're going to be at your break even. And I'm in studio right now, so don't get me wrong. I don't have a calculator in front of me. I'm kind of just throwing numbers at you guys. I'm kind of guessing about-ish. But let's just say that that's the scenario, right? It's going to take 3 years to make up $5,000 at a $250 a month savings, let's just say. We want to make sure that if you're going to sell the home in 3 years, well, then it's probably better to just keep the loan you have and make the higher payment, because if you sell it before 3 years, then it actually costs you money to do that refinance. But if you're going to be in that home for another 4 or 5 years, then you are saving money over and beyond the time that it takes to break even. So what it's all about is it's not really about whether it's your forever home, it's going to be your rental property down the road, or it's going to be something you sell down the road and buy again. We want to make sure that the cost is offset by the savings and within the time frame that you plan to remain in that property and to keep that loan. So that is very important as far as the refinance goes down the road once interest rates do come down. So I want to jump really quick to John's question about what are the homeowners assistance programs. So there are down payment assistance programs that are out there. They are available. It depends on where you live. There are programs that are statewide. There are programs that are citywide. There are programs that can be used across the nation. But there are programs available to first-time home buyers that are in a lower income bracket that can help you with some of the money that is needed for the down payment. So you would have to call us, John, and you'd have to talk to us about where you're looking, where you'd want to buy. Then, of course, we have to look at your credit score and your income to determine if you are a candidate for one of those programs. But there are down payment assistance programs that are available, and it just depends on where you are planning to purchase, which programs would be eligible for you and if you fit within their scope of, guidelines. So definitely, again, a consultation type of question, not necessarily an application question. But if it sounds good and you're like, yeah, you know what, let's actually make sure that I'm going to qualify for this, then that's when we move forward to the pre-approval application to get things rolling and to make sure that you can see all of the opportunity and options that are available to you based on that loan application. So I hope that helps. Joe did jump in, Joe Vera, and says, hello, everybody. So Joe, thanks so much for jumping in and joining the program. I hope you are having a fabulous day. Today, we are talking about whether or not you should be buying today or should you be waiting for interest rates to come down, and should you be refinancing today or should you be waiting for interest rates to come down? So let's jump into the refinance part because we haven't touched on that yet and we're already at about 34 minutes in our show. So I do want to touch on that piece for all of my homeowners that are sitting out there who have been thinking about doing a refinance, would like to do a refinance, but they haven't because the interest rate that they have on their current mortgage is significantly lower than where an interest rate would be if they did a refinance today. So in that particular scenario, that's exactly the answer. If your interest rate is significantly lower than where interest rates would be today, there is no need or no reason to do a refinance. So what would be a reason that somebody might be considering refinancing today? So let's just really pull the elephant out of the room, right? Somebody who would be thinking about doing a refinance today has an agenda and needs cash. So what do they need cash for? They need cash to pay off debt. They need cash to do home improvements. Maybe they want to build an ADU. Maybe they need cash because they want to go buy another property and they need money for a down payment on another home. So depending on what your reason is for that refinance determines whether or not that it makes sense for you to do a refinance today and then refinance again later when interest rates come down. So what would be some reasons why somebody would want to pull the trigger and lose the interest rate that they have on their home today that's at 3.5%, right? Why would you give up 3.5% for an interest rate of 7% or 7.5%? Why would you do something like that? So it really depends on the balance on your home. So how much do you owe on your home versus how much cash do you need in hand? So if the cash that you need in hand for whatever the reason is that you need it for, whether it's the home improvement, whether it's to build that ADU, whether it's to go buy another property, whether it's to pay off debt, if that balance that you need is more or almost the same as the balance that you owe on your current first mortgage, it would make more sense to do a refinance. So let's talk about that for a second. So let's say, for example, and we have a lot of clients that are in this situation, they only owe $150,000 or $200,000 or $50,000, whatever that number might be. They're getting to the point where their mortgage balance is very, very low on their home, but they do want to either buy another home, build an ADU that can be pretty expensive, do a massive renovation on the home that they haven't updated in years, or they want to pull cash out and go buy another property, but they don't want to sell their property. They want to keep it. They want to make it a rental, right? So somebody like that maybe owes, and we're going to go with the idea of you owe $150,000 on your home, and your property value is $700,000 or $800,000, and you want to pull out $150,000, $200,000, $250,000 to take an interest rate on a second mortgage, a home equity line of credit, or a home equity loan that is approaching 10% at that huge balance does not make any sense. You are better off to put it all together in one. Your blended rate with what you would have paid on your 3.5 that you have today on your 150 and what you'd pay at 10% on 150. So let's just say those loan amounts are equal. That blended rate will be higher than if you just take a brand new mortgage at 7 or 7.5%. So what we look at for refinance is what is your cheapest option? What is your cheapest option? That is the most important piece. It's not about hey, we really need some loans right now. Let's talk this guy into a refinance. That's not what it's all about. It's about doing what's right for the customer. It's about doing what's right for our clients. We want them to be our forever clients. We want them to come back to us. Interest rates will drop again. So if it makes more sense to get them a home equity loan or a home equity line, you owe $500,000 at 3.5% and you need $100,000. Well, $100,000 at 10% and $500,000 at 3.5% makes way more sense than having $650,000 at 7.5%. So we are going to do what is right by you. So it depends on what you owe today on your current mortgage and how much cash that you need. Now, let's talk about this as well. If you have a lot of debt, so the reason that you're doing the refinance is to pay off debt. You have got, and I have seen this over and over again, we have had clients come to us that have $100,000 in credit card debt or $100,000 between credit card debt, personal loans, and anything else that they might want to pay off. And all of those interest rates are extremely high. If you have not pulled up the terms of a credit card recently, even a credit card that you got years and years ago where you thought your interest rate was 16% or you thought your interest rate was 13%, if you have not pulled up those interest rates recently, I urge you to do so. We are seeing some of these credit cards come in with interest rates in the 30s, interest rates in the very high 20s. So when you start taking $100,000 at that kind of debt and you owe $500,000 on a first at 3.5, it still might be cheaper to do that $100,000 at 10. It might not be cheaper. It might be cheaper to put it all together. So it just depends. We are going to make sure that we are directing you, that we are doing the numbers, and that we are showing you what those numbers look like so that you can understand what is your cheapest option. So that is how you decide whether or not a refinance today makes sense or whether or not you should wait. And keep in mind that if you did refinance because you needed that cash for whatever that reason might be, that you can, just like a person purchasing today, you can take advantage of a refinance down the road when those interest rates do come down to lower that monthly payment and lower that total overall cost that you will pay throughout the term of the loan. So those are all really cool things and really good information. So I do believe that I answered most of the questions. I believe that we hit that topic. I do want to urge everybody who has been thinking about buying a home to at least jump on my home buyer workshop. That is this coming Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So Wednesday, March 6th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I do highly urge you to do that. The best thing that you can do is give yourself the education, at least to get a jump start on what exactly goes on in the process, learn the lingo, understand what is happening and how you get things moving forward and how you get the pre-approval and what loan might work best for you and what does an FHA mean and what does escrow mean. All these things are very, very important. So I would highly urge you to jump on that. I want to see you all there. I want to see you learning. I do think that it'll be a great, great day. And whether you're buying in 24 or you're like John's channel and you want to wait until 25, you still need the education, you still need to understand, and you still need to learn. So I highly suggest that you jump on that workshop with me in the evening next Wednesday. So with that, I want to say, everybody, thank you so much. Karen did jump on. My mother-in-law says, thank you. Looking forward to the workshop. So you are very, very welcome. I'm looking forward to it too. I hope you guys all have a fabulous rest of your week. And I'll be back right here again next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube and Facebook. We'll see y'all later.
Debbie Marcoux is licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS ID 237926. Also licensed in Arizona 0941504, Florida L076508, Georgia 69178, Idaho MLO 208023796, Illinois 031.0058339, Missouri, North Carolina I210940, Nevada 57237, Oregon, Tennessee 184373, Texas, Washington MLO 237926.
She's the mortgage mom. She can get things done when you're in need and don't know where to go. Pick up the phone and call mom.